welcome back to the show. One and only Cahill. And today we're gonna talk about something different. I usually do some sports. Real quick before we get into this, I hate to interrupt. Shout out my Sixers, man. We beat Toronto again. We up 2-0. You know what I'm saying? We did our thing. Joel did his thing. MVP him. MVP. All those great things. Tyrese Maxey, great, phenomenal player. James Harden, you cool. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Wait, why do you say that? Like you cool? Like
James
like his little layup when he stole the ball at the end. He like came.
I ain't gonna
up
lie, when he went up like this, and I was like, all right, that was dope. That was dope. I'll give you your props for that, James.
I mean, can you like you stop and think for a moment like we're in the playoffs? You know what I mean? Like the Sixers have Harden. It's kind of
Nah, it's surreal. I remember
a different look
when we got the trade news, man. I was going crazy about it, but I want him to be a little more efficient with his shots. That's all. Because even the game before, he had a bunch of assists, and I was like, wow, that's all we need you to do. Get you your 20
Just
and 14.
Get an assist,
pass the ball. That's all he needs to do. And he's one of the greatest to ever do that. So for him to be here and to have a even better playmaker than we've already had with Simmons is crazy. But anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that because that's not why we're here today.
What are we talking about today, John?
Man, what you want to talk about today?
I don't know. They would just do something off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's the name of the show.
That's the name of the show.
Off the cuff with Jalen.
That's the new name of the
show.
show.
Name of the show right
off
there.
The cuff. I like it.
That's the one that I told you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But no, I thought you asked me a couple days ago. You're like, you want to come on the show? You want to talk about music? You want to talk about hip hop?
Yeah, we talk about any type of music.
Let's talk about hip hop.
Talk about hip hop.
Okay. For me, hip hop starts in the year 1993. Two albums come out, same month. You're talking about Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, and you're talking about the Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the 36 Chambers. Now, this music changes everything, really. I mean, like, there was hip-hop, rap music in New York City in the 1980s and stuff like that, but hearing this type of music, I mean, you had the Fugees, Score, you had all these albums coming out that have such a unique sound to it, and I still listen to it on rotation on Spotify.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What old school stuff do you like?
Man, a lot of people would be surprised to hear me say this, but I listen to more old school than I do new school, to be honest. I just personally connect with it more. So I listen to a lot of Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Pac, definitely Tribe Called Quest. I like Mobb Deep. I was just listening to Shook Ones earlier today, so that's one of the greatest beats ever, man. Real talk.
Yeah, real talk. I mean, infamous Mobb Deep. I mean, like, and if you don't know who the infamous Mobb Deep is, I mean, like, they have
you don't even know hip-hop then.
But some of the best hip-hop beats, though, in general. Like that one track I played you with Method Man, Extortion. That one. I love that, the way it sounds. And it's just such a unique element to hip-hop. I still hear it in some aspects of the music now, but I miss how much treble and bass drove the music back in the day. Like everyone had the windows down. Everybody had the windows down.
It's different now. Everything is 808s and trap drums. It's no more boom bap like that.
Quest, I remember the Roots coming up like in the mid '90s, early 2000s, and
shout out Questlove.
They put out this album called Things Fall Apart, and I love this album so much. And I go see Questlove perform at the Electric Factory. It was called. They actually won a Grammy for what's that Erykah Badu song or
Window Seat?
Jill Scott. Know that you love me, baby, you got me. Or I think it's called Baby You Got Me. But they win the Grammy. I go to the party. I see Questlove play drums. It's the first time I ever see a bass drum have a separate bass drum in it. So the kick is that thick.
Wow.
That's why he sounds so like, you can see it on like the Jimmy Fallon show. He'll do that, yeah.
Oh, that's dope, man.
But I mean, yeah, it's a very unique sound. And it was the first time that I had heard live hip hop. And live hip hop, there's nothing quite like it.
Nah. The first concert I've ever been to was the J. Cole concert that we just had last year.
Oh, wow. Your first concert was just last year?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so envious of that.
Man,
envious.
It's nothing like it. Man, I'm telling you.
My first concert was, you mean the guy Chris Cornell passed away from Soundgarden? Passed away a few years ago. So it was Soundgarden. It was like 1991, I think it was.
Okay.
Which is wild. I still remember it. Still remember that adrenaline,
91? Man, you're going far back. I ain't going to lie to you.
It's okay, though.
I don't want to call you out like that.
I was happy to be there, though, to witness all that music, like you mentioned Biggie, right? Like I went to school here, and I never forget, I got mono when I was like 16 here, and I missed a whole bunch of school, and I had Life After Death double CD in my bed on my CD man.
I remember you was telling me that story.
Listening to this album and just being sad for one because he had just passed away, and then he releases an album called Life After Death, which was it was a weird time too. Like, and you also I think you asked me once too. You're like, who's better, Tupac or Biggie? It's so hard to answer that question.
Yeah.
But sadly, we lost both of them in the '90s, and I mean, it's a terrible thing when you lose somebody like that means something to you and communities all around like the world.
Right. I mean, I think the thing with Tupac and Biggie is that they both had similar styles in terms of what they were talking about. They were both like gritty, talking a lot about gang violence and stuff. Biggie kind of grew out of that towards the end and started trying to give a different type of message, different type of vibe, but you still knew who he was. You still knew he was this guy from Brooklyn, from Bad Style, was always repping his, his city, his block. And it's hard to tell who was better. I mean, they didn't, again, obviously they both passed young, so they didn't have a chance.
I'm just
to
actually
really
looking it up. I want to know how old he was. He was only...
He was like 26, 27, I think, when he died.
Let's see here.
I think.
Yeah, when he passed away, he was only 24 years old.
24? I was off, so
that's
wow.
crazy. So, you know what? Did you know that at age 24 is like when the adult brain forms completely. So, when you're 24, you're actually in total mature, like, state being an adult. So, he wasn't even there quite yet, and he lost his life.
It's sad, man.
It's very sad because I can only imagine like what the two of them would have continued to do. I mentioned to you Machiavelli. So Machiavelli, Tupac passes away. I get a job in the late 90s at Sam Goody. I think they still have Sam Goody's called FYEs now or something like that. They got at the mall. It's the same place at the mall.
Yeah.
Plymouth Meeting Mall, they still got the same wallpaper up on there. It still has the same back room. Wow. But I worked there when CDs were the biggest thing on the planet, right? And I never forget when people came in for that. And I never forget the day that Limp Bizkit released an album called Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water.
What?
That's the name of the album, but it came out in like 2000. I have never seen that many people line up for consumerism. Like, it was like nonstop that day. I'll take a copy of Limp Bizkit, and they have to say the whole thing. I'd make them like, what album do you want? And like, Chocolate Starfish and Hot Dog Flavored Water, Chocolate Starfish and Hot Dog Flavor. This was back in the day when you couldn't just go on Spotify and click on something. You had to come see me. You had to pre-order something.
Yeah.
And then you thought about that album for like 3-4 months.
That's great. I remember my dad was telling me a story about him when he got Illmatic, the Nas album.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I remember I saw it upstairs. We had a third floor at the time, and it was just laying there on the office table. And I was like, man, like, why this little kid on this album? I can listen to this, right? And he was like, nah, son. I was like 6, right? But now that I'm older and I've really gone back and listened to that album, I was like, wow. But he told me he was, it may have been the same story you're talking about at the time. I can't remember, but he was saying how it was just such a long line. How everybody
long line. I remember that album too coming out and people talking about it. He actually just announced yesterday he's got a new album coming out. Or no, that's Kendrick Lamar. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Kendrick's got a new album coming out. I kind of
really
like,
excited for
I don't
too.
put them in this, but they are both very similar to me as far as like their MC style goes. Yeah, because they're very poetic.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just like cadence, but it's also storytelling. Yeah, and I love that. Kendrick's last album, I love that album.
Yeah, it was great.
There's a couple great tracks on there. They're just so like inventive, you know.
So let me ask you this question then, because this is a really heavy debate for his fans and which album of his is the best. And for me, which album is the best all talks about replay value. So for you, what is Kendrick's best album?
I don't think he's done it yet. I think this one is.
Okay.
I think this one coming is because I read some stuff yesterday in Variety about it, like how he's been focused, like, you know, people during the pandemic. I mean, the last 2 years, it's a flash in the pan, you know what I mean? Like,
truly, yeah.
People are now experiencing life again, going back to concerts and stuff like that. And now we're getting a chance to see, like, what all these great artists produced during that time. And I think that's exciting. So it's like, when I saw the news that Kendrick's coming out with something, I'm like, yes.
Oh, man. I saw that, yes, man. I was almost in tears.
That's what music does, though. Like, music takes time to gestate. Like, you could probably write a song. I could write a song in like 5 minutes, but I don't think it's good.
Yeah, you can't rush that. Especially for Kendrick, everything he does has to be perfected. It's the same thing with like Kanye. They have to perfect what they do.
Have you ever seen like I saw a video of Snoop on the spot come up with a verse.
Yeah.
That amazes me. I know that Jay-Z, too, also never writes anything down.
Yeah.
It's all in his head.
He just marks the bars and stuff on his
He just knows it in his head. And I love watching an artist work like that because, you know, a lot of people are like, why don't you write it down? Why don't you write it down? Like, I got it up here, you know? And, like, people don't like that when you tell them that. They're like, what do you mean you got it up there? I ain't got it up there. Like, I got it up here, okay? We're good, you know? But I've seen MCs do that, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it's a completely different atmosphere. Yeah. You're talking about guys like Jay-Z. Like, when they say they got it, they really got it. They don't need the paper. They don't need help. They don't need, you know, these websites like Rhyme Zone. They got it.
It was a great pleasure to watch him go from, you know, putting out, like, you know, an album and then all of a sudden becoming just like a mogul. You know what I mean? Like, he took over. I think he's buying teams or something, right? He's going to buy I think he's buying the Broncos or something, I read.
I heard he was in talks about it. I don't know if he
That'd be wild
to do it. But I mean, he's working really closely with the NFL, so that's another phenomenal thing in general. But talking about his albums, I think with Jay, he was another guy who, as he got older and again aged gracefully in the rap game, because he can still rap with the best of them. But going from albums like the Black Album and one of his most recent projects, 444.
Yeah.
Like when he, that's he recorded it was the time. But
is that the one with Picasso Baby on it? You know the one that goes Picasso Baby? Let's look it up. This is what we do on podcasts, all right? We just look it up. This is what we do. I mean, there's no formality here, you know what I mean? Like we're off the cuff, okay?
That's what we do.
Picasso Baby comes out in I think like 2011. I forget the name of the album, but God, it was.
Oh, was it Was that Watch
I can't
the
play the
Throne
song
with
because
him
we
and
get kicked
Kanye?
off YouTube.
Yeah,
it's straight just Jay-Z.
Oh, that's Holy Grail. Magna Carta, right?
And
Magna Carta.
The Magna Carta, Holy Grail. This was the Justin Timberlake song.
Yeah.
But like also like when you listen to that album, like it's amazing production value. I mean, I think he samples "Smells Like Teen Spirit" on there by Nirvana, which is really hard to do.
Man, I gotta go back and listen to that album.
That's a great album. I love that song "Picasso Baby," and there's one Tom Ford on there. The beats are really good. But I mean, like his style, I love that style. I love how he keeps evolving. Back to the Black Album real quick because I just have to give props because I never heard a drum beat as thick as 99 Problems. That song general, like when it first came out, I never forget watching the video. It's produced by this guy Rick Rubin, who's like this guru in the industry.
Yeah.
Basically, this guy Rick Rubin, he just shows up, never wears shoes, got a beard, got long hair, and just tells people what to do. And like that's it. He don't even touch the knob.
Yeah, I think he was on.
He's just like, no.
Yeah, you
need to go back to your room and you need to write another verse. And like they're like, yes, Rick,
I think
I'll go do it.
I think he was on the David Letterman show on Netflix. I think he was.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
No, it's him and Paul McCartney on Hulu. And they go through all of like the Beatles music and like you get a chance to see like his producing like style and like stuff like that. But I would say though that like an album is only as good as its producer. Like, cause unless you're an artist like Jay-Z who produces themselves
or Kanye,
like you know what I mean. Like Kanye, I mean, like he's a master at it. You know what I mean? Like
Absolute
he's a genius, but he's also like tortured by it, which I love. You know what I mean? Like, I guess we probably should talk about Kanye right now too, just because it's just. I mean, like
it's such a relevant topic at this point.
I mentioned to you a few days ago. I like seeing the videos of him where it's a different side of him that you don't see in the media. I saw a video the other day where. Somebody's like stops him and he's like, hey man, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, and I don't like how the media portrays you. And he says straight to them, would you do me a favor and put that on social media and come out and give me a hug? And it's like, I can imagine he's very tortured, man, especially being I mean, like most artists are tortured.
Absolutely.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I think the thing with Kanye is sometimes he does put himself in bad situations.
Yeah.
And of course, with the media, they're going to do what gets them clicks.
Yeah.
So Kanye being positive isn't necessarily going to get them the views, the clicks.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to see this man, especially Kanye, right? Because of his mental condition with his bipolar disorder and everything. They want to see him do something crazy.
Hey, why do you think that is? I mean, I know we got to wrap up soon, but like it's the worst type of entertainment though, because it's mental health, and it's like, look, he's a poor.
And then we're just making jokes.
Of it, yeah.
And the thing is, I couldn't tell you why specifically because I don't know why everybody individually does what they do. But I know for me, first of all, Kanye is my idol, right? I look up to Kanye. One of them. I have many idols, but for music specifically, Kanye is my idol. And, it's tough to see Kanye do some of the things he does. And
yeah, I know that feeling, yeah.
Yeah, but
I really like Nirvana, and it was tough for me to see Kurt do some things that he did, and it's
especially,
like,
I'm not going to say it, but,
exactly.
it is. It's tough, man, but he's a great guy. Like, he genuinely cares. I remember he was on a radio show. I want to say this was 2017 or 2018. He had said some things about, slavery being a choice, and he had gone on a radio show after, and he had said he just wanted to apologize and everything, and he just broke down in tears. Like you could
he's
tell.
He's human, I mean, that's the thing. People forget that they're like all the stars, like Drake, Taylor Swift, all these people. Like people forget, like they're same as us.
They have feelings,
They got feelings. They got blood running through their veins. Exactly. They're the same as us, and like we put them on these high pedestals, and like
as if they're supposed to be different.
It's a tough thing,
money.
yeah.
And
I heard this thing with Eminem once. He's like, I think it was in a movie called Funny People. He's in a scene, and it's like kind of like a it's very meta, and he's basically just saying like, I can't go to Walmart, I can't go to Wawa, I can't go to 7-Eleven, he can't go nowhere. So like, you become famous, your ego becomes inflamed, and then basically you can't even go to GameStop to entertain yourself because everybody's going to be up on you for the next 25 minutes, making you feel uncomfortable. And it's a weird thing that we like how we perceive fame.
I feel like I don't remember what song this was, but Eminem has a line in this song where he's talking about how he's in White Castle and this guy named John wanted an autograph.
I'm in White Castle.
Like it was funny, but it's true. Like that's really how it goes. But it's another song that he has, Stan, where fans are just so crazy to the point where they're deranged and they do these things, outlandish things.
Stan's I haven't heard that in a while. But
it's a phenomenal song.
Yeah. I'll never forget seeing that video. That video was intense.
Oh yeah, it was wild. Especially coming out in that time period too. I feel like it was kind of unprecedented. But
it's funny, I scroll through like the news and stuff like that, and like we were just talking about how like it's all the clicks. You know what I mean? And it's all about like getting you to read a story that may or may not be the truth. And like I just saw something the other day where they're like Eminem and Dr. Dre are talking about how they had no choice but to have 50 Cent on the Super Bowl show. Like that was months ago. And we're still trying to bring it up. Like, let it go. Let's keep evolving and look forward to Kendrick Lamar's album. Let's look forward to the stuff of the future. Let's see what Kanye does next. I'm sure him and Drake are going to go on tour this summer.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
saw that thing he did with the Circle?
Yeah.
Like, where was that? In Chicago?
That
was a wild concert. He did this concert where like it was an elevated cylinder in the middle of the baseball stadium. I'll show it to you after we wrap the podcast.
That was the Hoover tour, right? Or
something, but I mean,
I think I know what you're talking
Drake,
about.
Kanye West, they should tour. They
Absolutely. I mean, let's think about how popular it was when him and Jay-Z went on tour. Can you imagine with Kanye and Drake?
That was very popular.
Yeah, like, and they were
I heard that
everywhere.
I just saw on the internet yesterday that Drake and Taylor Swift are recording together, so that could be the one that she goes, he probably do that tour first.
So I have a take on the internet, right? Yeah. I made a comment on, I don't know if you know the rap page, like it's like rap.com. So they put up a post with Drake and Taylor Swift.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah, no, it was earlier today. They put up a post, and they were like, oh, Drake has a picture up with Taylor Swift, probably from years ago, but I was like, oh, so Drake took a picture with Mid, because I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. Yeah. A lot of people are going to come at me for that, and they're going to bash me for that. I don't apologize for that take.
He's off the cuff.
I'm off the cuff. I'm very raw. I'm very honest.
He's lost it.
I guess so. I may have lost some supporters too, so I apologize to y'all. Kind of, not really, but I think that Drake and Taylor Swift would definitely sell, but I don't know how stylistically they would work together. I just feel like because of what almost every Taylor Swift song I've ever heard has to do with a breakup, had some sort of heartbreak or something.
And she straight went back and re-recorded everything.
Yeah, and I said that.
Buy it one more time.
Yeah, I said that to somebody. I'm like, every single album she has is about the same thing, and it goes diamond. I don't know why. Like it wasn't that good, Like she can sing.
It's song structure. I can't say anything about it because I do have fans, but I do believe that we are running out of time. Did you hear that from the control room right there?
Did we?
Yeah, I did hear that, yes.
I didn't hear it.
But this is not my show. This is your show, so I'm going to pass it back to you.
No, we're going to go a few minutes overtime.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. But I think that it'll be great for their fans individually, Taylor Swift and Drake. But, again, I don't want to bash Taylor. She seems to be a great person from what I hear. So
I actually just went back on YouTube the other day and rewatched the Kanye moment with her.
Oh,
I watched that live
absolutely
when that
legendary.
happened. I never forget that.
I was definitely too young for that.
How old were you when that happened?
What was that, 2009, 2010? So I was probably like 6, 7.
Ah, dude, it's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll never forget it, though. I'll never forget it.
Because I remember the first time I saw it, I was probably like 12 or 13 because I had first got Instagram. I think it was the anniversary of it, and they were just like, it was on every page I followed. My friends were putting it on their story. I mean, it's funny, but it was like, man, Kanye, why'd you do that? Like, let her have a moment,
I get it, though. I mean, like, a lot of times, like, people, like we were talking about before, they're human, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's a moment in time. Like, also, too, with Will, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a moment in time. He has a split second. Do I get up? Do I do this? Do I not? I even think upon watching that video a second time or a third time or even maybe a 10th time, that you can see him at the last moment kind of think, like, what am I about to do? Am I going to give him a hug? Am I going to give him like a shoulder thing, or am I going to give him a slap?
And it turned into a slap.
Yeah, it happens in the moment.
It's unfortunate, but I think that Will should leave Jada. She has her kids writing letters to a dead man.
Can we know that for real?
Yeah, Willow was probably
I saw
7
a poem or something that she had shared online.
Yeah, Willow, she was like 7. And she was writing letters to two. She's like, my mommy is sad. Can you please come back so we can be happy? Why are you not happy with your dad?
Did you ever see Poetic Justice?
It was a great movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Tupac could really act. I have to say,
he would have been
super talented guy, man.
Ahead of his time.
Absolutely.
And that was a very sad thing when that happened.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Now I know I said I was gonna go overtime. I already did. So I don't want to get in too much trouble with the big guy in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Off the Cuff. Thank you, Cahill, for coming out.
No problem.
I'll see y'all again real soon.